Our tale today begins at the Tichborne Manor in Tichborne, Hampshire. It was the 12th century, circa 1150, in which Lady Mabella Tichborne lay dying in her bed. Lady Tichborne was suffering from a wasting disease in which her legs stopped working and she was passing quickly. So she asked her husband, Sir Roger Tichborne, to see to her at her bedside for one final request. She asked her husband to offer a dole in her memory once a year and give food to the poor. Cruel as her husband was, he said, "Surely I will do as you ask." And he gave her a torch. He said, "I will give as much food from the land as you can crawl over." Lady Tichborne, as ill as she was, went outside and crawled through 23 acres of land before the torch finally went out. The land in which she crawled still exists today, and it has been dubbed the Crawls. Knowing that her husband was a cruel man who could never keep his word, before she died, she placed a curse on the Tichborne name. She stated that should the dole ever be stopped for any reason, the Tichborne name would die out. It would begin by the birth of 7 sons and then 7 daughters, and there would be no heirs left to maintain the family seat. And thus the tradition began. On the 25th of March, every year for 600 years, the dole was given to the poor, until 1796, in which the local magistrates stopped the dole. At the time the dole stopped, the baronet of the Tichborne Manor was Henry Tichborne, and he had 7 daughters. There was a son in the family, as his brother Edward had a little 6-year-old boy who passed shortly after the dole had stopped. Most interesting of all is that Henry and Edward weren't the only brothers. There were 7. The dole was resumed in the 1830s, and little Alfred Tichborne was born in 1839, thus protecting the family name. To this day, the residents of Tichborne and nearby parishes still receive the dole every year on March 25th. Each adult receives 1 gallon of flour, and each child receives half a gallon of flour. And although most of the original manor house of Lady Mabella Tichborne was torn down, and a new one was built in its stead, it is said that she still roams the hallways. She watches from wide windows to ensure that the dole is met.